A world-famous boxer shows strength not only in the ring but also in life. He stands up for his beliefs and he becomes a symbol of courage and confidence. In the annals of sports history, few names resonate with the force and the significance of Muhammad Ali. He was more than just a boxer. He was a phenomenon, a cultural icon, and a powerful voice for change in a tumultuous era. Known for his lightning-fast jabs, mesmerizing footwork, and an ego as colossal as his talent, ALI's journey from a young fighter in Louisville to a global symbol of resistance is a testament to the power of conviction. His story is not merely one of athletic prowess but of a man who dared to challenge the status quo, sacrificing everything for his principles. The world knew him as the greatest, a title he bestowed upon himself, but one he earned through battles fought both inside and outside the squared circle. His life was a performance, a poem, a fight, and a declaration that a person's worth is measured not by their conformity, but by their courage to stand for what they believe is right, even when they stand alone. Born Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr. in 1942, his boxing journey began at the tender age of 12 after a pivotal, almost cinematic moment. His bicycle was stolen. The young, incensed Clay reported the theft to a police officer, Joe Martin, who also happened to run a local boxing gym. Vowing to whoop the thief, Clay was advised by Martin that he ought to learn how to fight first. This chance encounter set in motion a chain of events that would change the world of sports forever. Under Martin's tutelage, Clay quickly demonstrated an extraordinary natural talent. He possessed a rare combination of speed, power, and an unorthodox style that baffled his opponents. His feet were as quick as his hands, allowing him to dance around his rivals, peppering them with jabs while remaining just out of reach. He famously declared his strategy: float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. This wasn't just a catchy phrase. It was a perfect description of his revolutionary approach to heavyweight boxing, an art form that had previously been dominated by lumbering, powerful sluggers. His amateur career was nothing short of spectacular, culminating in a gold medal at the 1960 Rome Olympics in the light heavyweight division. This victory was a moment of immense pride, not just for him but for his country. Yet, the jubilant return to his segregated hometown of Louisville was a harsh reminder of the deep-seated racial injustices that plagued America. According to his own accounts, he was refused service at a whites-only restaurant while wearing his gold medal. This disheartening experience, he later claimed, led him to throw his Olympic medal into the Ohio River in disgust. While the veracity of this specific event has been debated, it symbolizes a profound turning point in his consciousness. The medal, a symbol of national achievement, felt hollow when his basic human dignity was denied in his own country. This was the moment the fighter began to transform into the activist, realizing that his greatest battles would not be for titles or prize money, but for equality and respect. The ring was his stage, but the world was his arena, and he was beginning to understand the power of his platform. Upon turning professional, Clay's ascent was meteoric and loud. He was a master of psychological warfare, using poetry, predictions, and the relentless threat to get under his opponent's skin long before the first bell rang. He wasn't just a boxer, he was a promoter, a poet, and a prophet of his own success. He would predict the round in which his opponent would fall, and more often than not, he was right. This brash confidence, which man found arrogant, was a deliberate act of self-creation. In an era where black athletes were expected to be humble and grateful, Clay's unapologetic self-belief was a radical statement. He was crafting a persona of an invincible, charismatic black man who refused to be defined by anyone but himself. This all came to a head in 1964 when, as a significant underdog, he faced the fearsome heavyweight champion, Sonny Liston. Liston was a menacing figure, a seemingly unstoppable force. The press and the boxing experts gave Clay little to no more chance. But Clay, ever the showman, taunted Liston relentlessly, calling him a big ugly bear. In the ring, he put on a masterclass of boxing, using his superior speed and the agility to dominate the champion. After 6 rounds, Liston, bewildered and beaten, refused to answer the bell for the 7th. The impossible had happened. The 22-year-old challenger lapped around the ring, roaring to the stunned press, "I am the greatest." It shook up the world. The day after this monumental victory, Cassius Clay shocked the world again, but this time, it had nothing to do with boxing. He publicly announced that he was a member of the Nation of Islam, a black nationalist and religious movement. He renounced his birth name, which he called his slave name, and he declared that he would henceforth be known as Muhammad Ali. This was a seismic event. At the height of the civil rights movement, aligning himself with a group seen as radical and separatist was an act of immense defiance. He was rejecting the white establishment that had just begun to embrace him as a sports hero. Man in the media and the public refused to accept his new name, continuing to call him Clay, an act of disrespect that only hardened his resolve. For Ali, this conversion was not a whim. It was a profound spiritual and political awakening. It gave him a framework to understand and articulate the systemic racism he had experienced his entire life. He was no more longer just a champion in the ring. He was a champion for his people, using his global fame to speak out against racial injustice with a clarity and the courage that few other public figures dared to exhibit. His greatest fight, however, would take place far from the boxing ring. In 1967, with the Vietnam War raging, Muhammad Ali was drafted into the United States Army. He refused induction, citing his religious beliefs as a conscientious objector. His reasoning was clear, powerful, and delivered with his characteristic eloquence. My conscience won't let me go shoot my brother, or some darker people, or some poor hungry people in the mood for big powerful America. And shoot them for what? They never called me nigger. They never lynched me. They didn't put no more dogs on me. They didn't rob me of my nationality, rape and kill my mother and father. Shoot them for what? How can he shoot them, poor people? Just take me to jail. The backlash was immediate and severe. He was stripped of his heavyweight title, his boxing license was revoked, and he was convicted of direct evasion. The man who had been the king of the world was now an outcast, facing a 5-year prison sentence and a $10,000 fine. He was barred from his profession during what should have been the peak years of his athletic career, from age 25 to 28. During his 3.5-year exile from boxing, Muhammad Ali did not fade into obscurity. Instead, his stature grew. He became a prominent and powerful voice in the anti-war movement and a symbol of black pride and resistance. He toured college campuses, engaging in debates and giving speeches, honing his arguments and articulating his principles to a generation grappling with war, race, and identity. He sacrificed his fame, his fortune, and his freedom for his beliefs. This period of forced inactivity transformed him from a popular athlete into a figure of immense moral authority. He showed a different kind of strength, a resilience of spirit that was even more formidable than his physical power. His principled stand resonated with millions around the world who saw him as a hero not for the titles he had won, but for the title he was willing to lose for the sake of his conscience. In 1971, his conviction was unanimously overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court, and Ali was free to resume his career. His return to the ring set the stage for some of the most iconic and dramatic bouts in boxing history. His rivalry with Joe Frazier produced 3 epic fights, a trilogy of such brutality and skill that it defined an era. The first encounter, the fight of the century in 1971, saw Ali suffer his first professional defeat. But it was the third and final battle, the Sri Lain Manila in 1975, that stands as a testament to the outer limits of human endurance. It was a savage, 14-round war of attrition that left both men physically and spiritually exhausted. Then there was the Rumble in the Jungle in 1974, where Ali, once again the underdog, faced the younger, stronger, and seemingly invincible George Foreman in Zaire. Ali employed a brilliant and risky strategy, the rope-a-dope, absorbing Foreman's thunderous punches against the ropes, letting the champion exhaust himself. In the 8th round, a weary Foreman was defenseless, and Ali unleashed a flurry of punches that sent him crashing to the canvas. Against all odds, Muhammad Ali had reclaimed the heavyweight championship of the world 7 years after it had been unjustly stripped from him. As his career wound down and the fire of his youth gave way to the wisdom of age, Ali's public persona softened. The brash trash talker evolved into a beloved global statesman, a humanitarian, and a symbol of peace. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's syndrome in 1984, a condition likely exacerbated by the thousands of punches he had absorbed. The disease progressively robbed him of his physical grace and silenced the voice that had once boomed with such confidence. Yet, in his silence, he communicated a new kind of power. His trembling hands and shuffling walk became a visible symbol of his own humanity and vulnerability. The most poignant moment of this later chapter of his life came in 1996 when he was chosen to light the Olympic cauldron at the Atlanta Games. As the world watched, he stood on the stage, his arms shaking but his will unbroken, and he raised the torch. In that single, powerful image, Ali's journey came full circle. He was no longer just a boxer or an activist. He was a symbol of hope, endurance, and the unquenchable fire of the human spirit. Muhammad Ali's legacy is a complex tapestry woven from threads of athletic genius, unwavering conviction, and the profound social impact. He transcended sport, using his fame as a megaphone to champion the causes he believed in, fundamentally changing the role and the responsibility of the modern athlete. He taught us that courage isn't the absence of fear, but the willingness to stand up for one's principles in the face of it. He showed the world that a person's strength is not just measured by their ability to throw a punch, but by their willingness to take a stand. His life was a testament to the idea that true greatness lies in fighting for something larger than oneself. He was, and he always will be, the greatest. He stands up for his beliefs and he becomes a symbol of courage and confidence. Our world-famous boxer shows strength not only in the ring but also in life.